If you sitting around waiting for the market to turn before you could start making moves again, you're already way behind. The problem, momentum dies faster than your cash burns. Reinforce your core. Don't diversify and panic. Double down on your edge. Turn downtime into build time. Right? Build better systems. Your team mirrors your energy. If you panic, they implode. That's why I say lead with clarity. You have to be certain. Most leaders pump their brakes, but the smart ones grab market share instead. The truth, recessions don't kill companies. Timid leaders do. Very important topic, right? So if you sitting around waiting for the market to turn before you could start making moves again, you're already way behind. So think about that for a minute. Today I wanted to show you some ideas, some strategies for you to grow when everybody else freezes. The same playbook we use to scale HIRECLOUT through recessions, and more importantly, many of our clients through recessions, how we did it, how we helped them do it, and more importantly, what they allowed us to do, right? What leadership they had to allow for this type of strategy, this type of risk taking, because it is risk. Most of us want or are a little bit scared, and we want to maintain what we have, and we want to make sure that cash doesn't run out, and it's very important. So I do agree with that. But the economy cycles every 5 to 7 years. Downturns aren't exceptions. They're features. They're features that you can potentially take advantage of. Those of us that have been through multiple recessions know that it's going to happen. It's not about if we survive it or not, although that's very important, is can we grow through it? First, survival, sure. But by just trying to not lose the game, you're going to lose the game, right? You're going to fall behind. The market rewards teams that play to win, not play to not lose. So think about that in your strategy. Most companies, how are they responding to recessions? They're slashing budgets, freezing hiring, waiting it out, getting rid of tools. And sure, there is some good to that, right? We can't be crazy with our money and throw our money everywhere like we used to when things were a little bit better. But it's about how you cut budgets. Is it unnecessary things such as tools and tech that no one's using, or is it your budget to hire brilliant people? So think about that. The problem, momentum dies faster than your cash burns. So you got to know about that. Is if you start cutting costs, you're never going to grow. Whether you lose $70,000 or $74,000, that will not be the decision that either scales you to the 100x that you're looking for. So it's very important to make that happen. Most companies respond by slashing budgets, freezing hiring, waiting it out. The problem with that is your momentum dies faster than your cash burns, right? So the winners are the ones who are taking advantage of these opportunities, right? If you talk about buying cheap, like in real estate, this is actually an interesting time to hire people that you couldn't get. This is your opportunity to get in front of great engineers or great go-to-market talent that typically would ignore your reach out because they're employed, they're doing well, their company's taking good care of them, but all of a sudden their companies are playing scared. So these guys start getting a little scared. Hey, my company's scared. I wonder why. There must be a reason. Or their companies stop growing. So they start being a little bit more open to opportunities, especially with companies that are stepping on it, that are going for it. They're pushing the envelope in this type of market. So think about that when you're designing your go-to-market or your budgets for next year. I mean, let's talk about context and the reality check. The economy, like I said, cycles every 5 to 7 years. Downturns aren't exceptions. They are features. They're features for you to take advantage of. So take advantage of them, right? So big lie, right? The big lie, big myth, you need to conserve during a recession. I call BS, right? Because you raised money for a reason. If you're a VC funded company, you just raised money. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit on it and wait it out for the next year or two? Not a good strategy. Or, you had a very profitable business. You saved up about a year of operational, expenses. Smart strategy. But now what? You're just going to hoard that, get rid of all your employees and wait around for the market to turn. The problem is by then AI is shifting the environment so quickly. It's shifting businesses so quickly. Your brilliant product that hasn't had the opportunity to find product market fit and get momentum to build market share is no longer valued as valuable. So if you have the money, this is the time to step on it, right? Yes, during a recession, during a downturn. Yes, I know it goes against everything we've learned, especially as potential, immigrant entrepreneurs who come from cultures of saving, which is smart. But in our businesses, we have to combine those two strategies. A little bit of saving, but you got to step on it, right? By the way, you cannot cut your way out of greatness, right? You can cut costs, again, when unnecessary costs. But if you want to grow, cutting expenses is not the way to scale. Maybe it's the way to, making a small profit, or to show you're not losing money so that you can get more funding or potentially get a loan, but it is not the way you're going to scale your business. So think about that. Savings, playing scared equals surrender, to your competitors, frankly, because while you sit back, play scared, some smart competitor who's taken this type of advice is stepping on it and is making moves. They're making decisions. They're hiring your great talent while you put people through 8 rounds of interviews and you hem and haw whether you can make them a great offer and whatever it is. They're grabbing those people and 5 others, and they're making moves you're not. So think about that. Every major market leader today, Amazon, Salesforce, Tesla, made their biggest moves during a downturn. Recessions are the cheapest time to acquire talent, customers, and mind share, right? Don't wait around for things to get better. Things will get better when you get better. And how do you get better? By getting smarter, by getting better people, by stepping up your game, by stepping on it. So remember that. Recessions don't shrink opportunity. They concentrate in the hands of the bold. Okay? Think about that in your decision making. All right. So we talked a lot about general stuff. Let's talk about talent arbitrage. While others are laying off A-, B players, you should be quietly hiring the handful that are A talent. Right? Because this is the first time I've seen where you could actually get some good A talent in the marketplace. Historically, the great ones are always employed. If there's a layoff, there's a reason they were laid off. They weren't the best. While it's not a popular thing for me to say, while that is generally the truth, this is the first market where there are some great talent that's available in the marketplace. I mean, there always has been, but in very, very small kind of droves. And this is the first time there is a good amount of talent out there for you to capitalize on. So think about that. Great people are more available, more affordable, and more loyal during these times, right? So those people that hire during these tough times, those people remember, hey, listen, you were the one that gave me an opportunity. You were the one that gave me a roadmap to success. You were the one that was stepping on it while everybody else was running scared. They'll remember that. I mean, we've done this ourselves, right? I mean, we haven't scaled at the 100x that some of our clients have, but during 2020 recession, everybody kind of played scared. I hired a bunch of good people, and when COVID turned around and all of a sudden everybody needed lots of talent, we capitalized because we had a good team that could deliver, and then we just kept up the momentum, and that's helped us get to Inc. 5000 2 years in a row. Now we are also in a recession, right? We're one of the first industries that get affected, right? They get affected by tech recessions because there is a lot of talent out there that's a little bit more available than usual, so demand has dropped a little bit. But that doesn't stop us, right? It stopped us from hiring mediocre people. It stopped us from, chasing our tail and trying a million different things, but it did not stop us from hiring great people. In fact, I'll hire 10 great people tomorrow if they landed in my lap. We are strategically going after great talent, getting ready for the next, scaling opportunity. Are we scared? No. Are we cautious? Do we think this recession could last? Absolutely. Could this keep going on? Is this the new norm? It doesn't matter, right? We are going to make decisions as if we're just around the corner. We're at the middle of the J curve, and we're ready to scale when the opportunity arises. So very, very important. Reinforce your core, right? Reinforce your core. Don't diversify in panic. Double down on your edge. What is your edge? That's where you should be capitalizing on. Don't spend money on your ego. Don't hire just to hire. Don't hire just to say you grew. Hire on areas where you are going to double down, your actual edge. Focus on your top performing business lines, whatever it may be. Find your ICP. You got to be more hyper niche than ever, right? The times of kind of generalist are over, I think, right? People want to hire specialists. People want to know that you are going to be the partner that helps them in this economy with this type of people, whatever it is. So that's very, very important. And then this one's a big one for me. Cut distractions that are not drivers, right? And cut distractions, not your performers, not your drivers. What that means to me is anything that's pulling you away from your ability to make moves, bold moves, those things and people have to go. But don't cut away from drivers, right? Cut your anchors, because they're going to absolutely, in this market especially, they're going to be the ones that pull you down and not only stop you from growing, but potentially going out of business. But your motors, your drivers, not only do you want to keep them, but you want to go get more. So that's a pretty important one. For me, distractions are tough, right? Because sometimes I look at them as opportunities. That's a weakness of mine. I'm too open to opportunities, but good news is I've got the right people around me to tell me, hey, this might be one of those things. Is this something we have to do now? Can we delay this? Is this core to what we're building? And sometimes I'll say, you know what? Good point. No, we'll pause it. We'll start back up. Or yes, you know what? I really do want you to meet these guys. I think they could plug into this. That is core, but it's very, very important to do that. And I'm guilty of sometimes chasing my tail a little bit. Weaponized efficiency is another area I want to really focus on. Don't cut talent, cut friction, right? Implement systems and automation. What in your business can be automated through AI or just simple automation that could cut down some of the manual tasks that we're all used to doing, which was fine when we had a lot of people. Now that most of our businesses are a little bit or a lot bit thinner, leaner, we have to cut some of that stuff out so everybody, our team, can focus on only the most important things. And that's, a good strategy on cutting that friction, right? The friction is, I'd love to do this activity and I do believe that could generate revenue for us. The problem is I spend so much time doing this, and you said that that's important. Well, that's friction, right? That's time friction. You're basically telling me you wish you can do more revenue driving activity, but these administrative tasks, concepts are holding you back from that. Okay, great. If I cut these out, how much time will I free you up, and what will you do with that time? We have to be really careful, right? We can't implement AI for the sake of AI or automation for the sake of AI, or frankly, again, you won't love this, but we can't just do it to make our employees happier or make their lives easier. That's already built in, but it has to create more space and more time and more opportunity for them to go out and drive revenue. So think about that when you're building, your AI or whatever. We're doing this for clients where they say we have 30 different applications and, we don't know how to make them, streamline them. Well, we're doing that internally, so we're doing it for them as well. Use the slowdown to fix what's broken. Process, tools, reporting, training. This is a great time, because when things are buzzing and you're moving 1,000 miles an hour and life is good and you're winning, you don't have time for that stuff, right? So this is a great time to relook at your systems and cut things out that aren't necessary. This is the first time in a long time that you could actually look at your business and say, why does this have to go through these 4 steps before it gets to this 5th step? Cut it all out. Yes, I know we've done it like that always, but do we need to continue to do it? Do we need this person who really isn't doing a great job and never has, and we kind of needed them, and it was no, get rid of them, right? Replace them with great people that are motors, that are going to drive your business. They're going to drive revenue, drive systems, build clientele. So that's really, really important. Turn downtime into build time, right? Build better systems. For us, the way I look at it is, Is our infrastructure, is our platform prepared to scale 10x when business turns? If it's not, rebuild it now. Don't wait to rebuild it while we're in fly zone, right? Let's pretend we are driving slowly. We're not flying, but we're not stopped. Can we rebuild some of these things while we're walking or running a little bit slower? So that's really important. And then buy market share with courage is another category I want to talk about. When others stop marketing, your voice can get louder. Somebody said that. I wrote that down. Brand awareness compounds and CAC drops, right? This is the time to do it. Again, everybody's scared. What are they doing? It's cutting marketing costs because it's not working. Keep your outbound and thought leadership consistent. Again, sometimes it feels like it's pointless, like we're screaming into the abyss. What's the point? The point is you're building branding and people hear you. It's just not the right time, but it will be, and they'll remember you. Look, I'm trying to take this advice myself because we're doing all the right things, and some of it is coming back and it's working. Some of the things it's not, and it's frustrating, and we have to kind of think about it. What is a temporary not working versus it's just not the right strategy, even if it's for now. And then lead with certainty. You have the right to be right or wrong, as my former business partner would say, but you don't have the right to be uncertain, right? You have to be certain. You could be wrong, but you got to be certain, because otherwise people are looking at you and you're indecisive. I don't know, should I not? By the time you hem and haw, I'm making moves. Okay, you know how many people I've heard, I'm going to open a restaurant, I'm going to open this business, I'm going to build a tech company, I'm going to build AI. I've been hearing this for 1 to 20 years, and 20 years later they've done nothing, versus the person that's always doing something, and half the stuff you stop hearing about because it failed, whether they want to admit it or not. But guess what? The other half is really made them highly successful, right? Including investments. You know, my first 5 or 6 investments in AI startups, most of them already failed or are failing or will fail soon. But how about the next 5? What are they doing? They're starting to see some traction. One of them, I just found out, had an 11x on their next investment round. Others are getting ready for acquisition. Others are just getting great traction even in a market like this. So you have to be prepared for those things. What else? Your team mirrors your energy. If you panic, they implode. Okay? So that's why I say lead with clarity. You have to be certain. You have to be clear in your vision so that they, your lieutenants and your people are following your strategy. They're doing what they need to do. They're telling you what needs to be adjusted, and they're out there fighting the good fight. And if you're wrong, that's okay. You just very quickly pivot and be clear about that next strategy. Now, but you got to be careful, right? It can't be the flavor of the month. It can't be flavor of the day. It can't be something new every single day that's got their necks just swinging left to right like a tennis match. But whatever you decide, be certain and lead with certainty. Don't be scared. Don't be passive, and don't be indecisive. It's really, really important for you to be decisive on your strategy, and you run with it. You go, and now you execute. If it doesn't work, you adjust or you pivot. But that's very important. Your team is watching you. If you panic, it's over. If you're uncertain, they're uncertain, and their actions are uncertain. And guess what? Your results are uncertain. You don't know if your strategy worked or not. You don't know if you should hire or not. So what do? You don't hire. You hire someone average that was willing to deal with your crap and your low comp and your terrible interview process and your, instead of going for it, getting that star, being 100% certain, telling them your vision, being excited about your vision, and then they come on board and they execute against your vision, right? Versus getting someone that doesn't care. Look, whatever, man, I need a job. As soon as you change your mind, I'll be out the door. So that's really important. Reassure through transparency, confidence, and action, right? This is the time for you to be confident and tell your team what you're thinking. Look, sometimes it's ugly. It's like, hey guys, I told my team, like, look, I know I was a little more confident about the market turning a little bit earlier, but that's okay. This could be the new norm. So let's just get better, right? Remember what I said, the market will get better when you get better. Don't be a thermostat, be a thermometer. Change the temperature in the marketplace. And that's very important for you to be great. What else can I tell you? Build small wins, weekly, monthly, to keep morale high and momentum alive. Your team needs to see like, hey, you executed against the vision we had, and look at the results. I know it's early. I know it's nothing to write home about, but this is what's up, right? Get those small wins so that you get everybody excited. And then optimism without clarity is noise. Clarity without optimism is paralysis, okay? Be careful. You have to have clarity so that your optimism is directed at that, at your vision, and you guys are all rowing in the right direction. And clarity without optimism is paralysis, right? You're just sitting there and you're clear and indecisive. You've ever heard of the concept paralysis by analysis. You're sitting there analyzing or overanalyzing and sitting around and blah, 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 while other people are making moves, and you end up failing. So it's very, very important for you to make moves. Often what I've realized being around brilliant guys and in all my groups, my Yan groups, my YPO groups, my Vistage groups, just my friends, as smart as they are, so hopefully they're not offended, they're not always the smartest people I know. In fact, some of the smartest people I know honestly aren't, or the most intelligent, aren't always making big moves. Because why? They know too much. They overanalyze. During our last meeting, we in fact had a discussion about that, where an investment banker says, look, while I give you advice, please be careful, because I'm the guy watching from the sidelines because I know too much. While this guy who's making big moves has made a ton of money from just being decisive. So you got to be really careful. The smartest people or the most intelligent people aren't always the ones winning. Right? So you have to be decisive to make decisions, right? What else can I tell you? No fluff, right? Make shit happen. Recessions don't test your balance sheet. They test your backbone. This is the time where everybody gets scared, right? You either wait for permission to grow, or you create growth, right? Who's going to give you permission? It's not going to be your competitors. They love that you're indecisive, that you're scared, that you're hunkering down. They love the fact that you have no job postings. You're not hiring. You're scared. You're laying people off. And it's not even your worst people. You're laying off good people. You're canning your products. You're pivoting every month into something new. They love that. Your competitors are not going to help you, right? So you have to create your own path to growth. The leaders who act now will own the rebound, and everyone else will be working for them. Think about that. Guys, if this hit home with you, share it with a leader who's frozen right now, or frankly, someone that's not frozen, because us crazy people that grow and make tough decisions, bold decisions, sometimes we're kind of like, am I crazy? And the validation for them would be very welcomed. Like, hey man, I saw this video, reminds me of you, keep pushing it. So share it, talk about it, and tell me if you disagree. Listen, if you think I'm crazy, please tell me in the comments that I'm crazy, that I'm going to lead everybody down a path of bankruptcy. I don't think so. I've done this 2 or 3 times and it's worked. I've done it in my investments. I've done it in real estate. I've done it for HIRECLOUT. I've done it for my clients. Rarely has it backfired. It's backfired in very small scopes, but then it's made up 10x somewhere else. So very, very important. And I mean that. I don't just prescribe this medicine. I take it myself in my personal businesses, in my company. And I think my team appreciates that because they're never scared. None of my teams have ever been scared in any recession that I've been part of. 2008 and 9, I'm aging myself, but 2020, the COVID shutdown. I mean, it can't get any scarier than that. And then now, we're not scared. We're going for it. Now, naturally, cuts have to be made with people that are not up for that type of environment where, this is like wartime CEO. We're making moves. We're cutting out noise, unnecessary stuff, and we're focused, and we will not take anything less than excellence. And that's tough. But those people that make it out will win with you, and they'll win in a big way. It's not just about you or your company. It's about your team too. They need to see this. That's it, man. Listen, let's end this on that note. you know, share with your folks. Tell me if I'm crazy. Stay bold, my friends. Have a great one. Take care.